The way you design your charts in Google Sheets can be an absolute game changer for your spreadsheets. My name is Leah, I'm a professional spreadsheet creator, and I have seen this time and time again in the dozens of spreadsheets I have created and sold. Charts that fit in and look good make all the difference, making them visual assets instead of clunky distractions. In this video, I'm going to customize one pie chart in 3 different ways to show you how you can elevate your pie charts in Google Sheets. Let's jump into it. The first pie chart design we are going to create is the design I use the most in my spreadsheets. Now there are a couple reasons for this, but I'm going to go over that a little bit later. To create the pie chart, I'm going to select my data, and then in the upper toolbar, I'm going to click the Insert Chart button. And once I do this, a chart should appear. If my chart type didn't automatically default to a pie chart, I could just change the chart type over here and select pie chart in the bottom. If you want to learn how to just create charts in general, whether it's pie charts, bar charts, column charts, and even charts like geocharts or table charts, I created an entire workbook that teaches you how to create over a dozen of the most popular Google Sheets chart types, step by step. The Crack the Code workbook will teach you how to create beautiful and functional charts from scratch in Google Sheets. It not only shares many of my top tips and design styles, but it also shows you exactly how you should lay out your data for each chart type. And when it comes to creating charts in Google Sheets, making sure that you set up your data correctly is one of the most important parts. If you're interested in mastering Google Sheets charts, a link to the workbook will be in the description box below. Now, to begin customizing the chart, I'm going to start by removing the border color, just because this is usually my preference. Then I'm going to add a donut hole in the middle. To do this, I'm going to select pie chart, and then under donut hole, I'm going to change this to 50%. Now, there are different percentages that you can experiment with, and you could also change it to a custom percent if you wanted to. The next thing I'm going to do is change the colors of each of the pie chart slices. To do this, I'm going to select the pie slices individually, or I could select them from this dropdown and change the color. To do this, I'm going to add in my own custom colors and try to come up with a color palette that is aesthetically pleasing and would fit my spreadsheet well. So I'm going to select a navy color here, and then I'm going to speed through the rest of the colors. Alright, I have fiddled around a bit with the colors, and I've ended up with this muted color tone palette. Now, in a lot of my designs, I would honestly leave the pie chart just like this. However, I'm going to show you a couple ways that you can also add a little bit to the design. One thing that I often do in my pie charts is I will add in the value to the pie slices. Now, I don't generally do this when the value is money, but I will do this if the value is just numbers, for example. And those will tend to fit in more of the slices. When the values are longer like this, as you can see in these slices here and here, they won't necessarily fit in the slices, and I like to have them appear in all of them if possible. And you can see this done here in my spreadsheets like my task tracker spreadsheet and my invoice tracker spreadsheet. Another thing you could do is add in a border color. Now, something like a dark gray that would go well with all these colors here would be appealing to me, or you could even do something like a white and create a little bit of a distance between each of the pie slices. And that is it for the first pie chart. Okay, I do have a feeling that the second pie chart is going to be the fan favorite because it is very aesthetically appealing, and I'm so excited to show you how to create it. To create the next chart, I'm going to create another pie chart, and then I'm going to begin customizing it. The first thing I'm going to do under Customize and under Chart Style is I'm going to add in a light blue background, and I'm going to change my border color to a darker gray. Next, under Pie Chart, I'm going to change the donut hole to 80%, just like this. Now, a key part of this pie chart is going to be having an extremely cohesive color palette, and this is going to have an all blue theme. So let's begin changing the colors. I am a firm believer that the colors that you put in your pie charts are one of the biggest things that set them apart and make them fit into your spreadsheet. I love having a cohesive color palette, and it's so important that the colors don't only mesh well together, but that they're different enough from the other colors so that you can easily tell them apart. If you want to elevate your chart's color and style, but need some help, or you just want to save time, we created a Google Sheets design set that has over 30 pre-customized charts. All you need to do is copy and paste the charts into your own spreadsheets and connect it to your data, And just like that, you'll have a beautiful and fully functional chart. If this sounds right up your alley, there will be a link below in the description. Okay, so that is the completed color palette. I actually ended up adding in some subtle shades of green and purple to go with the color palette, but overall it has a nautical blue ocean type of feel. And I'm actually going to go back to the chart style and make the color of the background lighter, just like that. For the next part of this pie chart, I'm going to change the legend. So I'm going to go to the legend dropdown, and under position, I'm going to change the dropdown to right. And that removes all the data labels from directly touching the pie slices to these colored dots on the side, which show you which color aligns with what. Now, even though the pie slices aren't directly labeled, you can still click on and hover over the pie slices to see what category belongs with it and the exact value and percentage. I've seen people both use legends like this in their spreadsheets, and I've also seen them remove the legends completely, like this, and just have a very simple pie chart which users can then interact with like this. However you want to do it is totally up to you. Now, my personal preference is to have the pie slices labeled, and that's just because I think it makes it very easy to look at and read and understand which slice aligns with what. However, both have its pros, and people seem to like both, so ultimately it's about what you want and about what style you like the most. You can double click on the legend and then click and drag it to anywhere in the box too, just like this. This really helps when resizing the chart. You can also click on the chart and move it like this, and this helps to space everything evenly and make the proportions better. And that is it for the second pie chart. I absolutely love how this looks. I think it's so minimal, and I think the soft and gentle color palette and the simple legend on the side makes it look great. Now, one last thing I'm going to do to help contribute to the overall gentle vibe of the chart is I'm going to change the font of the legend to a serif, which I think will just tie it all together just like that. And lastly, for the third chart, it's going to have a little bit of a similar style to the first chart that we created, but it's going to have a different color palette and it's going to have a few key differences. In the Customize tab, some of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to add in a light tan background, and I'm also going to add in the dark gray border like I had before. Now, I'm not going to add a donut hole into this chart, but I'm going to change the colors over here. And this is the color palette that I have settled on. The next thing I'm going to do is change this pie chart from 2D to 3D. So under the Setup tab, under Chart Type, I'm going to scroll down and select 3D pie chart. And it will take my existing pie chart and just make it 3D. Now under this, the only other change I'm going to make is I'm going to add in a title. Under the Chart and Axis Titles dropdown, I'm going to select the box under Title Text and add in my title. Now I'm going to customize this a little bit by aligning it to the center, changing the font to serif, making the text a little bit bigger, and changing the color. Once I've done this, I'm just going to resize the pie chart to get it how I want. And I can also click on the title and drag that down a little bit too if I wanted. Now, my personal design preference is to not include the headers in the chart, but to make the headers outside the chart. So if you take a look at these examples here, these headers I made in my own style outside of the chart using merged cells, but they're not part of the chart. And that's just how I like my look to be. And there's also some examples where I don't even include the title at all. For example, if you take a look at this small business bookkeeping spreadsheet, this legend kind of explains what this chart is about. And then many other of these charts in this spreadsheet are very self-explanatory based on the data that goes into them. So I don't actually add a header, and that saves so much space and makes my charts look bigger and more full. And again, that's just my design preference, but you can do whatever you want. And that is it for pie chart number 3. I also love how this pie chart looks. I think the colors mesh together great, and I think that the 3D effect is very neat and unique. As you can see in these 3 different pie charts, there are so many different ways that you can customize your pie charts to make them look beautiful and fit your spreadsheets. If you found this video helpful and would like to see more Google Sheets design videos, I would love if you could like this video and subscribe to this channel. And again, if you want to save time customizing your charts in Google Sheets, our Google Sheets design sets, which include over 30 pre-customized charts, as well as our Crack the Code workbook, which teaches you how to create the most popular charts in Google Sheets from scratch, will be linked in the description box below. Thanks for watching.